He is still responding to questions from members of parliament and will be crossing back there in a short while. And of course, this falls in line with our Twitter poll question for today, where we are asking you, do you think the cost of fertilizer in the country is affordable? Do you think the cost of fertilizer in the country is affordable? That is our big question tonight, this afternoon. And we definitely shall be looking forward to your feedback. I've already received a host of feedback, and let me just quickly read one or two tweets before we can proceed. One tweet here from Kipruto Ben saying, not all, especially this year, the government has decided no subsidies, 50 kg bag already going for 3,700, that is for DAP fertilizer. It seems to me the government is angry with leaders from the farming regions who protested recently for low maize prices. Thank you so much, Kipruto Ben, who has sent in his tweet. And of course, keep tweeting, let's keep engaging as we move on with this discussion. Well, as much as we have picked up the issue of fertilizer in the country, there's also a lot to do when it comes to investments being made in the country. And I'm now bringing in a gentleman who will be talking to us about especially key trends that we are seeing in Africa, and that is Richard Olav, who is the CEO for Okarian. Many thanks for joining us from our City Center studio. Good afternoon. Great to see you, Richard.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Well, let's just begin by Kenya is the buzz right now in East Africa, and of course the big frontier economy that many organizations are keen on. Perhaps what is your general assessment of doing business in Africa, and to be precise, in Kenya?
Well, I think Africa is a great place generally and attracts lots of investment and lots of attention. However, I'll be very honest with you, doing business on the continent generally is not easy. And if you look at the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index, it's sad to say that the countries that are really lagging behind are generally the African countries. So it's very sad to say. Kenya, for that purpose, stands out as a country which is very attractive, where there's a lot of innovation going on. But still, I believe that there's still quite a lot to do to really be in the minds of investors and be able to plug the gap between what we call the governance gap, where we need to have the right governance in order to be able for investment to really flow into the country.
All right. And Richard, speaking about investments to flow into the country, from where you sit, what opportunities are you seeing in Kenya, knowing pretty well that it's a very dynamic economy, it's one of the biggest in East and Central Africa?
What we see is that there's a lot of possibilities and investment in terms of technology, in terms of fintech, in terms of education. I'm not mentioning I'm not in any particular order of importance, but just mentioning what we are seeing. Also in agri, in power. So these are the areas where we're seeing a lot of interest for Kenya.
All right. And for you and your organization, you handle quite a big portfolio, Richard. Just walk us through what excites you now that you're seeing a lot of interest, especially when it comes to fixed income.
Well, you see, whether it's fixed income or whether it's equity, I think the same fundamentals apply. Basically, if you look at what an investor is looking at when he's doing his investment, today there's two elements. One element is the return on the investment, and the other element is the impact on the community, what we call impact investment. And within that impact investment today, there's three components: environment, social impact, and governance, ESG. And when you look at what the investor is looking at, he's looking at what return am I going to get from my investment, and how am I going to really have the right elements of ESG in the country where I invest. From where we sit at Okarian, what we do basically is we provide corporate and financial services to investors the world over and facilitate the decision to invest in specific countries like Kenya by helping them get the right level of governance in their structures, in the way that they do things, so that then the investors can have the same language as the entrepreneurs in Kenya. Lots of entrepreneurs in Kenya, lots of innovation. But what we see is that sometimes there's a gap between what the entrepreneurs are offering and what the investors are looking for. And this is where we try to help them raise that level of governance so that they can attract the FDI into their business and into the country.
Right. And speaking about Okarian, looking at the investment opportunities, perhaps just debunk for us and, of course, just break it down for us. What should we expect from your visit to Kenya? And, of course, what is the outcome that we should expect?
You see, what we're doing is we are organizing an Okarian forum tomorrow at the Capital Club. And this, we used to be called ABAX, and we were quite known on the market to provide this facilitation between investment and projects. So we want to establish that now Okarian is ABAX, plus effectively more than that, because we are now part of a larger group and are present in many, many different countries, and therefore are able to try and connect money or funds to entrepreneurs and projects. So in our mission, if I may say so, during these few days in Kenya, but we also have an office here anyway. Yeah? So in this mission, we want to, through the Okarian Forum, establish that the business community in Kenya is active, and we want to hear them and to have a panel of people who will be on the panel who will discuss about what is it where we can help the FDI flow. That is one. Number two, we also want our clients to meet this business community, interact between them, and hopefully do business. And number three, we want to also act as a thought leadership to really make people think about what else can we do differently in order to help investment flow into the country on one hand, and secondly, if there are entrepreneurs, and there are many innovators in Kenya, for example, in the fintech space or whatever, if there are entrepreneurs who want to go beyond Kenyan borders and go international, how can we help them do that? When you're an entrepreneur being successful in Kenya, it's one thing. When you want to take your business outside of the country, that's another ball game. And this is where normally we help entrepreneurs, we accompany them to get the right governance in order to access financial capital, in order to be able to have the right procurement, in order to think about if I exit and if I gain value, how should I be structured so that this is efficient? How is it that I'm going to give, for example, an employee benefit trust to my employees so that they can also benefit and add value to the business? All these questions we will try to address through the forum that we will have tomorrow. And also, just to mention, as I said, we are present anyway, so we have permanence and presence in the market in Nairobi.
All right. And of course, I cannot let you go without asking you a question that touches on money. What's the size of investment you're looking at in terms of what you've just been talking about, in terms of growing SMEs and growing the entrepreneurs? And how much should you expect out of this particular venture?
Well, I cannot, to be honest, I cannot put a specific figure to what we're expecting, because it's a journey. It's not a quick fix. We're not coming here and saying, okay, we will help so much money come into the country, or we will help so many entrepreneurs to go out. It's a journey. And that journey, it's also, in a way, some sort of education and really listening to what the entrepreneurs are looking for in order for them to grow international, or the investors are looking for in order to invest in the country. But typically, I mean, if you have a business which has a turnover of about 500.
We can talk. There's business to that. Well, that is Richard Alav, who is the regional CEO for Okarian, speaking to us just ahead of a very important forum that is lined up, that they seek to reach out to entrepreneurs in the country. Thank you so much, Richard, and all the best. Well, let's move on now to, actually, let's take you back really to that press conference, not press conference actually, but that parliamentary grilling where the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Agriculture, Mwangi Kiunjuri, is currently responding to questions from members of Parliament of the Agriculture Committee in relation to fertilizer prices, as well as when is the next consignment expected in the country. Let's listen in to that.
To be able to buy at a commercial price, then we do not expect low yields. However, if they are not going to be able to buy at commercial rates, then there could be low yields. And on the issue of food security, in a way it can be affected. But for now, we are hoping that farmers will be able to buy the fertilizer at commercial rates if the government will not be able to provide subsidy fertilizer in good time.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for this opportunity. On the very, very onset, I saw this confusion coming, Waziri, and the confusion is very, very clear. And I saw it coming. Because from what you are telling us, the communication between yourselves and the Treasury just clearly shows the confusion in the government. Let's take this bullet and agree that this confusion is going to cost us dearly. One, and you don't have to blame on this one, earlier on, Chair, and I think I'm the ranking member of this committee because the previous government, the previous parliament, we actually advised the Ministry of Agriculture not to deal with importation of fertilizer, but leave to National Cereals Board to do that. Nothing has happened, and you can see the confusion that we are in this country. Two, now we intend to import, of course we are saying under the National Fertilizer Subsidy Program, the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation intend to procure. And I can tell you from the North Rift, for sure, the planting season starts somewhere in March because the climatic changes are there with us. But today, as I'm telling you, I came from Kitale this morning. People are so dissatisfied, and I've just been talking to my colleague here from the South Rift, and people have not even started plowing because they don't know when we'll be able to get the fertilizer. Now, the risk we're going to get into, Chair, is yes, we can, as you say, the dealers are asking the ministry, yes, tell us how much we can give to you, so long as you tell them you're going to import late, whatever quantities you're going to import, and then they fill in the cup. And I can tell you for sure that we are going to have substandard fertilizers in the country because you're dealing with